All right, good evening, everyone. Or if you are watching this recording, good afternoon, good morning, and welcome to Professional Studies Week here at Prince George's Community College. All day and all week, you have opportunities to view workshops in education, public safety and law, and business and entrepreneurship. So we hope that you have an opportunity to meet with us live, but if not, you will definitely have the opportunity to play some recordings. So welcome. My name is, I'm going to stop sharing. My name is Dr. Ashante Bryant Foster, and I serve as the Department Chair of Education here at Prince George's Community College. And our session for today is figuring out what it takes to become a certified teacher. What does it take to become a certified teacher? Now, we realize that some of you that may be watching this recording or here live with us, thank you for our live audience. You may not be a teacher yet, or you may be in the process of becoming a certified teacher. And so what we have for you today is an amazing panel of educators who saw fit and saw an opportunity to come and share with you their journey through certification. Now, I will say to you, my experience is way different than theirs was. When I was 3 years old, I wanted to be a teacher. And then I went to high school and I was in the teacher program in high school. And then I went to college and majored in education, and then master's in education, and then my doctorate in education. So education all over, right? But that's not always how everybody starts. But it's not about how you start, it's how you finish. And so I am pleased to introduce to you just a few of the amazingness that is in the state of Maryland. So we have Dr. Simmons with us, we have Dr. McCray, and we have Miss Ashley Harper, and they will be sharing with us on today. So we're gonna start by just simply allowing you to hear their voice. They're going to tell you hello and just a little bit of information about what they do now, like their title. All right, so I'm going to invite Dr. Simmons to come on first, just because I see her first on my screen.
Well, good evening, good morning, good afternoon, everybody. My name is Dr. Sharon Simmons, and I am currently, this is actually my first year full-time teaching. So I am going through my conditional certification process right now. Actually, I've been in the school system, Charles County Public Schools, for actually, this is my 7th year. So I kind of started off, and I've held a variety of positions. I've started off as an avid tutor.
Okay.
I went to
Dr. Simmons.
yes.
We're gonna go into that in a minute.
Okay, so just kind of what I am, where I am now.
Where
just
you
my
are right
name
now
and what
today.
I am now. Okay, so
I love it.
So I'm a first year teacher in high school, conditional teacher. Take it away.
All right, wonderful, wonderful. And I heard you say a 4-letter acronym that is near and dear to my heart. So I can't wait to hear more about that later.
Awesome.
Ms. Harper, take it away.
Hello, everyone. My name is Ashley Harper. I am currently a Montessori lead teacher at Judith P. Hoyer Montessori School in Hyattsville, Maryland.
Wonderful. Thank you for sharing, and thank you for being here. Thank you for what you do for our students. And last but not least, Dr. McCray.
Hello, everybody. Dr. McCray here. I am a principal currently in Washington, D.C. at Stanton Elementary School, and I'm finishing up my 17th year in education.
Whoa, 17 years, that's a long time. He can get his driver's license in education and all that, right? Wonderful. So I'm so glad that you all are here with us. So we're going to jump right into it because, you know, it's 6 o'clock. And we have families and such. So let's get into it. Describe your life before education, and whomever would like to go first can go first. But we know that there was a life before you decided to do education. So what was that life like for you? Career-wise, work-wise, what was that like for you?
I go first. I can go first. Before I became a teacher, let's see, I was in the military. I was in the Army as a linguist. I was a Russian linguist in the Army. Once I got out of the Army, I then went and worked for the US Senate. I worked in telecom and for the US Senate for about, I don't really want to give my age away, for a little more than 10 years, for about 12 or 13 years. And then I decided I might as well go ahead and teach.
You said a Russian what?
I was a Russian linguist. And
Break that down for the people.
break it down for the people. So so my job title was interrogator / linguist, right? So there were people who spoke all types of languages. My language just happened to be Russian. So when I joined, I went to school to learn Russian, and I went to school and learned how to interrogate people. I hate seriously question people. The word interrogate sounds so harsh. Seriously question people, effectively question. And so did that for a while. So Russian linguists, we would interview people, either in English or Russian, go back and forth. I learned a little bit of German as I was stationed in Germany. So I've done a little bit of a lot of stuff.
Hey, you need to come to your workshop on effectively interviewing. I'm with that, Ms. Harper. Yes. Okay, who's next? I can't wait to hear that.
I'll go next. So actually my before teaching life is in the medical field. I have my doctorate in podiatric medicine. I did that for a little while, and then kids started coming and home life took over. So I switched gears and went to the administrative side of medicine. And for about 15 or 16 years, I did medical billing and coding. Yep. So that was my before teaching life. And I worked in various hospitals, various medical facilities. And then towards the end of it, it was a lot of remote coding, remote contracts. So I had the opportunity, I was blessed to be able to be home those last few years. So, yep, that was me.
Wonderful. Ooh. Okay, Dr. McCray, bring it home.
Well, unfortunately, I don't have any interesting stories prior to education because this was my only job and career. However, I didn't major in education in college. I actually majored to be a politician. So I majored in political science and philosophy. I interned for Thomas Carper and now President Joe Biden when I went to Delaware State University. And my senior year as the SGA president of Delaware State, we went on a leadership conference, and there was this guy yelling about how Black men don't take advantage of their education. Here it is, Howard University was giving away a free master's if you just promised to teach for 3 years. So in my mind, I just heard free and master's from Howard University. So I said, I'm going. Got there only to find out that the first 21 credits were free and you had to pay for the rest. However, it was an experience. I started out in the resident teaching program with Prince George's County. And from there, just matriculated through the system. So that's where I was prior to this role.
Lovely, lovely. And you have just rolled us right into the next question, which was, what brought you to the field? So Dr. McCray has already told us kind of what brought you to the field. It's a free master's degree, but now, but really wanting to have that extra oomph, right? But what about, so Ashley, talk to me about, or Ms. Harper, talk to me about how you went from.
I worked for the Senate for most of my life. I worked
right
for the Senate Sergeant at Arms. So so I don't know. So Dr. McCray has worked with people in politics. And so I came to realize it, and I worked with a lot of staffers who worked for members of Congress. And most were nice and some are not so nice. You know, there are sometimes a lot of tantrums and things like that. And I was like, wow, I could really just go work with actual children. Like I would probably enjoy myself more than this, because it was, you know, fun at times. At times it was also quite stressful. So I was just like, let me go ahead and teach. But my actual degree was in early childhood education. So I was actually working outside of my degree. Like I have a lot of social workers and teachers in my family. And I was like, I refuse. I'm not doing that. I'm gonna find something different to do. So yeah, joke's on me. I didn't.
Came on home. You came on home. But I love that because, you know, sometimes we have this beginning, but
Mhm.
something pulls us away. But when it, you know, when it's your destiny, when it's your purpose, you want to just gravitate back to that. Yeah. Dr. Simmons, talk to me about podiatry and then moving into education.
Yep. So yeah, so like I said, you know, just I was away from my kids more than I was with my kids. The nanny was raising my kids. I'm like, no, that's not what I envisioned. So let me look at something more structured where I can still be at home but still be in the medical field. And that's how it kind of led me to billing and coding. And then, like I said, through the, you know, was had the opportunity to be able to work from home, which freed up some of my time. So when my daughter was in 7th grade, they had a need at her school for the avid tutors.
Tell
And
me
she says,
more.
my mommy works from home. She can. And my mommy is, you know, my mommy's a doctor. She knows math. She knows science. She can come.
Mhm.
I was like, okay, so let me find out what this is all about. So I did. I went and I tutored there. Oh wow. I don't know how many years. So she was in 7th grade. So her 7th grade, her 8th grade year. And then once I got there and they discovered that I have a doctorate, they're like, we need you. We need you. So I know I would daily sub, you know, when time allowed. And then when when I transitioned kind of out of coding altogether, just because everything was contracts and we would be with the contract and then the next minute we wouldn't be with the contract, and it just got to be a little uncomfortable and unsecure.
Yeah.
So I was like, okay, I'm a single mom. I need some security. So this is not going to work for me. 1 month I'm here and the next month you telling me that we got another month and you're not going to be here. So no, that's not going to work for me.
Mhm.
So I kind of took them up on their offer. They're like, okay, well, we need, you know, we really need you. We need you for daily subs, and then you have the degree. We really need you for long-term substitute teaching. So I'm like, okay, well, I'll give it a try. I didn't know what it all entailed, but I would, you know, like, you know, the opportunity is there. I'm available. It's something that I'm, you know, interested in. Let me give it a try. So, and that's kind of how I really transitioned into full-time Charles County Public Schools, and that led me to home and hospital instructor, administrative instructional assistant. And during COVID, they Charles County set up some what they call virtual cafes at the schools, because we, you know, some of our kids are in more remote areas and they don't have good internet access. So I was a tutor at the actual internet cafe. So it just you know, just kind of doors of opportunity just kept opening.
And you kept
Yeah,
walking through the door.
exactly. Yep. Because I realized that was, you know, that was part of my calling was teaching. And because I've been a Sunday school teacher since my oldest daughter, who's 26, she'll be 26 in July. I was her Sunday school teacher, you know, so I was already in the role, just not in a formal role through a school system. So that was funny when you said it. I was like, that's me.
Right. You've been sitting up here teaching the whole time.
Right. Yep.
The whole
Yep.
time. That is amazing. So as a former AVID coordinator, I love that you were willing to say yes, I'll come during the day and tutor students in small groups. That's amazing. And then as a former principal, absolutely you can come every single day. Just come on,
Right.
we have something for you. Just come.
Right. Every day they got
Show up,
something
show
for
up,
me.
show up. Yes, I love it. I
So that was
love it. And
awesome.
so now you're serving you are a conditional educator,
Yes.
right?
Yep.
And
So
so that's our next question. I love how this is just flowing so nicely. And we'll start with you, Dr. Simmons. What steps are you taking to become certified? What are you doing?
So actually, I just finished this past Saturday. I just finished a class because after everything was all said and done, they calculated all my credits and everything from undergrad and grad school. They pulled everything together. So I have 5 classes that I need to take, and my praxis. starting off with my core. But it's funny because during my long-term substitute, one of my times as a long-term substitute teacher, it was offered to me then. So I took the praxis, the reading core, but then something happened and the situation changed and the opportunity was taken off the table. So I'm like, okay, so that's fine. But God's timing is ultimate. So here it is again, presenting itself again. I'm like, okay, well, I've already got one down. So I just need math and writing core. Okay. And then of course, my content core and my pedagogy. So, but I was actually surprised that all I needed was 5 classes. I was like, oh my God, why didn't I do this sooner?
That's so
Because I
good.
have all the sciences. I just need my teaching, the teaching methodology and those kinds of things. So I've got 2 down, 3 more to go.
Woo, look at you.
So I'm excited. Yep. So by next spring, this time next year, I'll be done with my first conditional
right.
contract requirements.
Yeah.
Yep.
Wonderful. So first of all,
excited.
Congratulations.
Thank you. I'm like, whoo, Lord, because I work 2 jobs and in school and mommy. I'm like, by the grace of God,
we're gonna get to that balance in a little bit.
Yes.
Yes, we are. Because that is something else. But I want to make sure, I don't want to miss the opportunity to really break down for those who still haven't made the switch, that are thinking about making the switch. You said they looked at all of my information, all of my transcripts. So let's just take like a little half step back.
Okay.
What is that process like? Because I don't think that everyone understands you don't have to go back to school and get a full-blown bachelor's degree or master's degree to become a certified educator. You can actually have what you've already done evaluated.
Exactly. Yeah,
that's
what they did. They evaluated.
Oh, okay.
My
You had enough
transcripts.
Science. Yep. You had the math. I might need you to take one more math course. You may need you secondary methodology or whatever that is, writing in the content areas. But you're so close.
Yep. I was surprised when she said, oh, all you need is, I'm like, what? I'm thinking I really had to go back to school. I was like, really?
Yeah.
Just 5 classes? She was like, yeah, because all your, because I have the psychology classes from undergrad. I have all of my science and my chemistry and biology from undergrad and medical school. So yeah, she was like, yeah, all you need is your teaching methodology, your literacy, your special education, what is it? I just finished my assessment of students. And there's one more. I can't remember what it is, but yeah, there's one more. I was like, wow, okay. So I was really excited.
I'm excited for you. And so this is a perfect opportunity to say that Prince George's Community College offers so many of those courses that teachers need for certification and recertification. So we have summer courses coming out. We have almost every course offered as well as fall, winter, spring. So take a look at us, pgcc.edu, and you can take some courses with us as well. We also offer educational psychology and a myriad of other courses. So check us out. If you need me or if you need anything, you can email me at educationdept. I'll put it in the chat for those who are viewing this recording, and we will get you started and on your way. So thank you, Dr. Simmons. So 5 classes, 2 down, praxis core, and then you're certified. Beautiful. Yes. Beautiful. Ashley, take us through your journey. How did you attack this whole idea of certification?
I too went through the resident teacher program. And so, but now resident teacher offers 3 different programs. When I went through, they were offering just one at the time. And that was like 2015, I think is when I applied. 2015, I think was for the 2016 year. But, they were offering a dual certification in special ed through Notre Dame, Maryland University. So got the whole thing. Okay, we'll pay for your master's. They paid for all but 2 classes. I only had to pay for the last 2. And when I was finished, they built time in to the cycle where, okay, by now you should be able to take your core practice. By now you should be able to take this is on the third. By now you should be able to take your SPED practices. So all of those were like built in. We all spent, I think my cohort probably had about 20 people in it, maybe, and we still keep in touch. So that was about 5 years ago. We actually have a reunion coming up next month. But you get to know these people really, really well because you spend a lot of evenings with these people. And so they become, so that was like, I too am a single mom with 3 girls. So it was like, well, how do I go to school in the evenings and, manage my kids and my life and all that stuff? But it is definitely doable. You pick up a lot of friendly family along the way. You help each other out. So, but that was my journey, resident teacher, and I got caught up in the whole free master's thing. The Dr. McCray got caught in.
Look, it works. It works. And so you are a prime example of, don't try to sit there and do it all yourself. Seek opportunities, seek partnerships.
My whole thing is like, and I tell my kids, my own personal kids and my students now, like, don't tell yourself no. So like, jump in it, figure it out, and things will work out. Like, even if you have to take a break, even if you have to pause for a minute, don't give up and don't tell yourself no.
Beautiful. Beautiful. I appreciate that. Don't tell yourself no. And I also appreciate take breaks. Take breaks. Breathe. We're going to talk about something here in a minute. I want to. Okay. So here we have an example of you can do this, and guess what? We want to help you. We will support you financially to do this work. Now you're gonna hang with us for a couple of years, but we can help you do this work. So there are partnerships available for you. Yes, thank you, Ashley. What about you, Dr. McCray?
So it was a little tough. And I wanted to jump real quick back to
Go ahead.
Ashley's point about the staffers, which kind of drove me into education because I worked in a staffing office, and the things that I've seen that I'm not even allowed to speak about, but the things that I've seen turned me off from politics. And so it was an easy decision for me to choose education because my whole idea was that I wanted to give back. In my mind, I grew up in Philadelphia, so I thought I was going to be like the mayor of Philadelphia and giving back to the community. But once I graduated and went to DC, this was the thing. But that process of, becoming certified, just like you said, they looked at my transcript. And here's the ironic part. I started off as a social studies education major. The program got dropped from the school. And so it forced me to change my major to political science because they said, oh, well, this will be the last cohort. But when you do that and the professors started leaving, you don't have the same support. So then I moved into political science because I still wanted to focus on the history aspect. But they did the same thing. They ran my transcripts and they were like, you need those special education courses and the reading assessment courses and all of those different ones. And I took those all at Howard, which then got me my certification, dual certified, in PG and DC. So it kind of worked out in my favor. So, but I chose Prince George's County at the time. So it was, so I went there, but I still had to finish my master's, which I did that through Bowie State University. So it was, it was a challenge because, and I know we're going to get to the part about that balance part, because it was like, first year teacher trying to make sure you get your certification. I got 3 jobs and working on a master's. And it was like, I was new there. I didn't know that you shouldn't have lived in College Park your first time moving into the area. It was expensive. So my check wasn't even enough to cover my rent, but the process, like Ashley was saying, don't give up. Because you'll see the reward on the other side. There was many times that I wanted to quit. I failed the praxis the first time, I got defeated. But then I studied with my roommate who was actually in the program with me. So like you were saying, you do pick up those friends along the way. And it was like the 4 of us, my roommate and 2 other people, we kind of formed a relationship, a bond to get through the program and the certification. And, we've all moved on in different areas and all are still in education. So.
Being distracted right now. Thank you, Dr. McCray. So a couple things here. Dual enrollment. So when you're thinking about an opportunity to get your certification, actually take a look at reciprocity or what scores other states need, right? Just, think. You can look up what other states need and what you would qualify for. I remember taking the supervisor's test. I forgot what it was called back then, but remembering that we had one of the DC and Maryland had one of the highest rates for that. And so I knew, just because I looked, I was like, oh, I can go to North Carolina. Oh, I can go here. Oh, I can go there, right? With that reciprocity. So pay attention to that. Pay attention to that as well. And I didn't know, Dr. McCray, I'm just learning that you were originally in that was your path, but there was a little mix up in the journey, but I think you're better for it, right? Because now you had that political experience, which, if you agree with me, you need as a principal. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. And so that's something that some people gotta try to work for or work to, but you, with the experience, you're like, oh yeah, I know how to navigate this particular room right here. And not just principalship, but just anybody, advocating for yourself, etc. So the last question that I have, and then I'm going to open up to you all to, really, if what you wanted to say didn't come out in the questions that I'm asking, for us to be able to go around and you to say or speak on anything you wanted to speak on. What's happening? Okay, so we already talked about and tried to talk about your 3 jobs and moving into College Park. I'm like, wait a minute, this is who you didn't talk to anybody? You just gonna, yeah. All right.
He jumped all the way out there.
I mean, you're already where you already know where you live. So, okay. So this is the last question I have is, how do you balance, or how did you balance the work-life situation while seeking certification? I heard Ashley earlier talk about, you'll get some family along the way with that cohort model. That's an important piece. Maybe you can find a program that has a cohort model, because you have all your classes together and you can lean on each other and, build trust and things like that. But how else did you do it? Anybody who wants to go first? How did you make it happen? Okay. How are you doing it?
So I would say, you definitely have to know yourself and what your limits are, like knowing how much sleep you need every day. Definitely having a schedule and planning out every minute of every day. Even for, little things, even for because you're going to need, you can't be, as we say, your light switch can't be on 24/7. You just can't. So you have to find ways to decompress throughout the day. So I'm the way my schedule is set up, luckily I have my lunch and my planning period kind of fall in the middle of the school day. So I use that time, a little bit of that time, like 15 minutes, just to woosah and kind of collect myself. And then I kind of compartmentalize things. So when I'm at school, I'm doing only school stuff for the job piece. When I go home, I set aside a time to do my studying and, projects and homework and that kind of thing. I set aside a certain amount of time, and then I have a certain amount of time that I know that that's going to go to like mommy time, that kind of thing. So you have to kind of compartmentalize, because you don't want to get burnt out, one, and you don't want to overwhelm yourself, because then, when you get overwhelmed, I know for me, when I get overwhelmed, nothing gets done. Because I'm like, okay, what do I do first? It's all important. What do I do first?
Yeah. So
if I keep spinning my wheels, then 2 hours has gone by trying to figure out what do I do first, and nothing got done. So just I would say the main thing is kind of just knowing yourself, knowing your own cues when you've had enough, and to step away.
Yeah. Ooh, that's so good. Know when to push back from the table.
Yeah, and just refill. Know what helps you to refill your cup, because you can't give from an empty cup. So what refills your cup? If it's 30 minutes listening to a sermon or something, or a motivational speech or something on YouTube, you have to figure out what refills your cup to help you going, because you just, if you get on empty and stay empty, it's not gonna happen. You're gonna burn yourself out.
That's really good. Ow, know your limits, have a schedule, and
Hmm.
know when to
Sleep.
pull back from the table. Sleep. Now, I
Sleep.
don't play about my sleep.
Sleep. Yes. And
Everybody who
and
knows
just
me
and it's
knows
and knowing that
9
it's
o'clock,
only for, yeah. Yeah. And
I go
knowing
to
that it's
bed.
only for a season, that it's not gonna stay this way always. You have a goal in mind. So you might have to sacrifice, might not be able to go to everybody's function. You might not be able to, go to all of the kids' events, but you know, it's only for a short amount of time because you have a goal. So that's my 2 cents on it.
Oh, that was $2 million if they listen well, right? So even if you're in this session right now, that segment right there was worth rolling it back just to remind yourself, just to, know who you are. How do you show up? I like the hula hoop. I like to work out. And that, kind of gets my mind off of other
Oh,
stuff. I work
definitely.
out a
Yeah.
lot,
Working out. Yeah. Working out will help
but I work
relieve
out.
some stress. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. And I go to bed 9 o'clock. I mean, my body after 9 o'clock, 9:01, and it's like, so you could try it if you want to. I just don't
Oh
have
yeah, your
to,
body
but
will
I will
tell
be
you,
available for you at
hello.
4:30 a.m. Exactly. So, your body's talking to you, right? That's that nonverbal communication. Listen, listen, listen. Okay, who's next?
I can go.
Okay.
It really takes a lot of intentionality around it in order for it to happen. I think when I first started out, I was 21, so I was fresh out of a classroom, out of college. So I think I had all the energy in the world. I was teaching by day, selling TVs at night at Best Buy, and then on the weekend staffing pools in Prince George's County for a pool company. And in my mind, I just felt like I wanted to make sure that I was keeping up with my rent, but also I just wanted to ensure that I was keeping up with my studies as well. I was a night owl, so I was still, so sleep right then back then wasn't more a priority. You coming from college, you're used to being up all times of the night. So I think that's how I kind of actually pushed through my master's. And like you said, the balance piece is leaning on those friends and those individuals that can help you get through those certification programs. I think I did a great job navigating the school system and building relationships with people who had already done the work, who could actually help and guide me to teach me to become an effective educator, which then helped me transition all of that stuff into the work that I was doing with my master's program. Even now, from a lens as a principal, I appreciate it what Dr. Simmons just shared. Like I literally, and this just happened this year, and this is what, year 17, that I learned to say no. I learned to, everybody doesn't have to always come do a walkthrough at my particular school. My teachers get tired. We don't always want to perform. I've learned that, I've always agreed to do things, but I have children now that are 2 and 4. And so being a father to me is the highest priority behind being a husband. And so when it's time to shut it down, my phone goes on do not disturb. And if you really need me, you'll call my personal phone and not my work phone, because there's really nothing I can do about it in the middle of the night anyway. So it's just kind of like setting those boundaries. And it was so profound. A teacher told me in a staff meeting, she said, you have to learn how to turn us off. Because if not, we'll just call. And so now even they know, I put it like on the weekly updates. I have a meeting at this particular time. I'm not available, do not disturb, but it was me creating those boundaries. So I think the only way that I've learned now, and that's after I finished all the classes and everything, but the balance piece is setting the boundaries. If I tell nothing else to anyone else, it's to make sure that you create those boundaries so that you can be healthy, especially those who are in education. I work in a building full of millennials, and they're young and they're excited and they're hungry, but I'm telling them, like, you will burn yourself out and it will get to you. You're not going to be able to grade every paper. You're not going to be able to hit every single thing. And so finding that balance, and for me, truly, it was called boundaries that created that.
Yeah, that's beautiful, right? Boundaries. And I read, I scroll on Instagram from time to time. Usually not work related, right? And I saw something that says, boundaries. I set my boundaries to keep you in, not push you out, not push you away. And I was like, yes, because once I teach you how to treat me and work with me, right? That keeps you in. But if you keep calling me at the 10 o'clock or emailing me at 10 o'clock at night, and then you in my office 8 a.m. talking about, well, I emailed you yesterday. No, actually, no. You emailed me at 8 a.m. Okay. I didn't get to it yet. But when you teach people how to treat you, that's really helping them. If I didn't teach you, that might mean that I don't have that, that love and compassion and care for you and our relationship. That's good. I don't want to get all relationship-y on y'all, but that's really, really good. Boundaries. There's a book called Boundaries, and I forget the author, but it's good. Ashley, you look like you couldn't wait to answer this question.
No, I'm sitting over here. I have all types of anxiety. Like, what in the world am I going to say? Because they have hit on everything that I was thinking. And something Dr. McCray said, turning people off. Like I'm not a principal, but even with my parents, not my biological parents, but my students' parents, I have parents on my class dojo is 6:45 in the morning on a Sunday asking me about something that happened Friday afternoon. And I'm like, no.
That might be me. That might have been me. I'm sorry.
No, I'm going to go ahead and acknowledge you on Monday morning. Amen.
Okay, but yeah, you don't even look at it.
I even have so this goes back to what Dr. Simmons said, knowing yourself also. I even have boundaries with my own children. When I started this journey, my kids were 2, 6, and 14, right? 2, 6, and 14. So twice.
All girls, right?
All girls.
That's a lot of hair.
That's a lot of, yeah. They learn early how to do their own hair. One got locks, one listen, you got to be self-sufficient.
Right.
So, but I learned early, listen, so when mommy comes in the door, ladies, I need 50 feet and I need 50 minutes. Like, please let me breathe. Like, don't come, mommy. Sorry, my cat won't leave me alone. Mommy, this, mommy that, mommy, can you, mommy, do we? No, ma'am, if there's anything that you need me to sign, like each of them had folders except for the little one. The 2 older ones had folders. If anything you need me to see, put it in this folder. You don't put it in a folder, I don't see it. So like we just put systems and structures in place to help you function. Everybody needs something different. So and I needed that because I have a touch of ADD, and so like I can't function with a whole bunch of. I get sidetracked really, really easily. And like Dr. Simmons said, then nothing gets done.
Right, because then we're going to do any of these things. Give me 50 feet and 50 minutes. I'm sitting here thinking, like, are my kids too old for that? Like,
no, ma'am. No.
They're 12, they're 12, 14, 16, 16, 18, and 22. But I could tell them to go ahead and just go on.
Yep. When they see this, I'm like, oh, okay. I need to step back.
Well, that don't work for me. As you can see, I had one right here. So I'm loving this. Know yourself, create some boundaries, and ensure that the systems and structures are in place, not only at the workplace, but in your home life. Ooh, y'all. Okay. So now I want to, as we kind of close up, and if you have a question, please put it in the chat. If you have a question, please put it in the chat. But is there any lasting? Oh, I know. One came to me. I do have another question. In life, when we are gaining something or working towards something, a lot of times we have to give up something has to go or something has to take a pause. And so I wanted to know in your lives, what took a pause? Anybody can answer first.
I'll go. Because I kind of touched on it before, where you have to set the boundaries where you can't go to everybody's function. So I'm sorry, I can't go to your birthday party, but I'm gonna send you a little change in a card, you know, or like definitely social media went out the window. The television went out the window. I limit myself to, because that's kind of how I call it my dumb down time. So like when I'm trying to wind it all down, that's when I would maybe like scroll for 15 or 20 minutes, just because it's a mindless activity.
Mhm.
Or I would maybe turn on the TV, not necessarily watching it, but just
Have it on. Mhm.
yeah, just have it on. So yeah, so those kind of things are things I just kind of let go. Social media wasn't important.
Mm.
TV wasn't as important,
Yeah.
and then like I said, just because I just can't physically be, I have to study. Studying is the priority,
That's right.
and being in my class is the priority. So for right now, so I can't go to, every family function, I
Every
got a lot of,
brunch.
girlfriends and all of that kind of stuff, then, everybody's birthdays and all of
Yeah.
that. So if I can, then
Yeah.
I will, but
Yeah.
nope, just like you said, just knowing your boundaries, setting your boundaries, knowing what you can and can't do,
Mhm.
and prioritizing what needs to be done. Like, and not just for me, but for my son, because he's 15. Okay, well, I have to be in class, so you're gonna have to miss, this event or that event for
Yeah.
right now.
Yeah. Yeah.
Hmm.
And they appreciate, I know children, I used to, when I was working on my dissertation, I had writing Wednesday. And on writing Wednesday, because my kids were so small, when they were picked up from school, they just went straight to my mom's. And my mom would bathe them, give them dinner. And so by the time my husband was coming home, he would put them basically right in the bed. So I had all of that time um, to work. But I realized that even now, when I explain to them during this time and this time, or I'll send we're all older now, so I'll send a group chat, mommy's in a session from this time to this time. They will say, okay, shh, nobody. I only have one that don't care. But it's one of six, so I think that's pretty good. But the rest of them, they really acknowledge. So when we share what we're doing, right? And we share what our boundaries are or what our needs are, our families usually show up. I
Yeah,
mean,
I would agree. Yep. Yeah,
yeah.
because I have, 'cause my son is he runs track, so on days like if I can't pick him up from practice, then my sister can pick him up or
Mhm,
somebody else can
mhm.
pick him up, or if he's got something that's going on, say, hey, can you do this for me? So yeah, so family definitely pulls in, family and friends, pull in, because they know what your journey is and what your goal is. You share with them what it is, then they can, support you in whatever way that you need. So
That's
that's
good.
that's an important thing too.
Yeah. Another nugget, don't be afraid to ask for help and don't be afraid
Mhm.
to receive help. It's not weak, right? If somebody else says, you know what, you can go ahead. If they see you on your laptop trying to struggle to get the Wi-Fi and your child is in soccer and you trying to get your Wi-Fi and you got your mobile thing and all this. If someone says, if you want to go to the Panera up the street or the Starbucks right there, I'll keep an eye on Sydney. I'll keep an eye on Josh. Um, don't be afraid. I mean, we have that we know when it ain't okay, but when it's right, don't deny yourself. Don't cheat yourself of the opportunity to be able to compartmentalize because you have this pride about, no, that's my responsibility. I got to do it. I'm the one. Go ahead. I learned that in 2020.
Yeah, it takes a village, that's for sure.
In 2020, when I couldn't do it, and I had to lean on other people when I had COVID. I could not do it. Right. So anyway, Ashley, what you talking about?
I was gonna say, so part of this, I don't know, this keeps coming up in my mind. I don't know how many people already have children who are gonna watch this, but a lot of, so Prince George's County Public Schools also pay for my Montessori certification. So it's just a different way of teaching for those who don't know what it is. It's just a different teaching philosophy. And a lot of times we try to give children, so in my classroom, I first started out teaching 1st through 3rd grade. And now I teach the primary children. My classroom consists of 24 3-year-olds to 6-year-olds. And so, but the more, so we have this thing where like, when we could have parents come in the classroom and parents could visit, they're like, oh, they know how to sweep. Oh, they know how to fold clothes. Oh, they know how to, yes, they do. Because we teach them to do it and then we expect them to do it. So a lot of times you're sitting around thinking, I have to do this for my baby, for my baby, for my baby. Mm-hmm. And your baby can do a whole lot more than you think your baby can. If you just show your baby how to do it and say, this is what you do. My kids, my own personal children now hate when I say, you need a lesson on that, because I don't like the way that looks. You need a lesson. No, mommy, we don't need a lesson. So you just teach them. And if they see you prioritize, if they see you with a book, they're going to sit down and open a book. They see you writing papers. They're going to, even if they can't read, they're going to sit down and take their little pencil, their little crayons and scribble. Like they learn, okay, well, if I can't, I know for my youngest ones who couldn't tell time, I put these. So I put, it's pink time. During pink time, you can't talk to mommy, right? Blue time is when you can talk to mommy. It's now pink time. We're not talking to mommy. It's pink time when the big hand gets here. And when it gets back to there, you can talk to mommy again. Like, I do that in my classroom. Please don't talk to Miss Harper. It's Miss Harper time. We can't. I need you to go over there by yourself for a few minutes. Like, like you teach them. You teach them. It's like teaching people how to teach you. You show people what you expect, and children especially will rise to your expectations every single time.
Every single time. So I'm gonna further this part right here. Because I know I just ran off those numbers and y'all be like, wait a minute, that's a lot of kids. And they old, they also cook. They also cook. Okay. So the one that he had an interview for Academy Health Science tonight for the teacher prep program, because he wants to be a teacher. So his interview was at a little bit after 6. So when we came from the orthodontist, I said, well, son, you might want to get started on your dinner prep at 5 p.m. because you can't cook at 6 p.m. when you normally cook. And I will be in a session because his night to cook, my 8th grader, is Monday night. And he cooks spaghetti because I teach him how to do it. And you cook it. I don't cook on Mondays. I don't cook on Tuesdays. I don't cook on Thursdays. So what you're saying is true. And they take pride in it. They're like, oh, how does this sauce taste this? How is it? Oh, mom, they ate, there's nothing left, mom. They really get into it. So consider what we are keeping from them by not allowing them to experience real responsibility. You want your clothes washed, wash them. I'm gonna teach you how to do it. I'll teach you how to do it. You know, my other daughter, she taught herself how to do knotless braids. You know why? Because I'm tired of paying for it. And she does an amazing job. So give them the opportunities and go and take a bath. Because that's what I do. I get in the bubble bath. I weren't with you all. Okay. Dr. McCray, take us home, sir.
So it's a lot of things that I think about, but I think the number one thing that I probably sacrificed the most was the relationships. The relationships with people who were not aligned to my goals and that, were causing and draining me more than, helping and aligning. And so it's just like, sometimes people say you're just as good as your last favorite of folks. And so I had to keep that in mind that, everybody is not supposed to be on the journey. Everybody is not for you. And, through this process and through this journey, you'll see who needs to be eliminated. And while it was a sacrifice, it also was a blessing on the other side. So I think I kind of appreciated that because you can actually evaluate who you actually need in your circle.
Mhm.
I felt like the older I got, the more folks you started losing, because I couldn't hang out in the clubs and go on every trip because I had responsibilities. And then you're looked at different because you choose your professionalism or your career or your journey over turning up and popping bottles. Well, that was college. We're adults now, so I got bills.
Well, hold on, you can't. Go ahead.
Well, yeah, you can every now and
No,
then, but
just
I couldn't do it every day. I mean, literally, when you're 21, I was out Sunday, Tuesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. So it was just like a nonstop for my first year down here. On top of working 3 jobs. So it was just kind of like the older you got, that had to stop. And people were like, well, we want to keep going. I'm like, well, no, I'm trying to, get my master's. I'm trying to work in central office. I'm trying to become an administrator. So these things I'm trying to get married, so I have kids. So, all of these things just don't align with some of those things. But like I said, I think sacrificing those relationships turned out for the good in the end.
What I heard you say was alignment. And what's beautiful about that is some people come into our lives for the season, and it's okay for them to exit stage left. It's okay, right? And so I'm also thinking about when you said, removing some of those people. I feel like when you remove some of those people, you made room for all the ones that you then needed to network with and be engaged with on another level. And so sometimes when we are going higher or when we are moving over, sometimes I don't say higher because but when we are moving over, because everyone's role is significant, right? That's a different circle, or you might need to widen your circle, or you might need to close your circle. So that's beautiful. I love the way you said that. And you finished with alignment, which was good. Good stuff. Opening the floor to, thank you. Girl Scouts is not right now. Opening the floor. Okay, she said she's not going. Opening up the floor to our panelists, as well as anyone that's in the chat that wants to give any lasting thoughts, anything that we didn't talk about that you really want to share. This will be the opportunity to do that.
I'll just go and end with my final words around remembering your why. I think, in this journey, especially in education, when things change so often and we're plagued with so many different things, especially coming at the end of this, and I don't even call it the end of the pandemic, still in the midst of the pandemic, just making sure that you understand your why and align your thoughts, your actions, and not giving up, because it's going to be days. Whether you're going through the process of certification, whether you are trying to figure out, what the next course is going to be or how you're going to be successful, never give up and remember your why, because I think your why will carry you throughout this whole entire process. I mean, I've had days and I've had situations that have caused me that I know some people probably would have buckled, but just, thinking about your why and what it is that you want to overall accomplish, especially with education and your certification. People always say, we got to take all these courses to be certified. We got to have all these things. It just makes you a much better educator. And you'll be thankful for it in the end. So keep going.
Keep going. Keep going. Thank you. Anyone else? Dr. Simmons, Ashley?
Yeah, I'll add a couple things to that. Is Dr. McCray touched on something about planning. Know what it is that you have to complete and plan ahead. Like, I already know this time next year, what my process is going to be. So you have to look at the big picture and then break it down to some attainable steps for you.
That's good. That's good. Begin
then
with the end in mind. Know what you need.
Yes,
That's
know
one
what you
thing that
need.
I'm seeing, right? I see people come and take courses, and just because it has the word literacy in it, you sign up for it. And then
right, you get to the end, you're like, no, that's not the literacy that you needed. You needed this one.
when you turn your transcript in, and they're like, no, So save yourself some time. Don't use the hearsay, right? Don't, if someone says, oh, I took that for that, that may have been 5 years ago when that's what we were doing. Make sure you keep up with what is happening now, and don't just look for one word. Don't just look for human. And you're like, oh, human learning, human development, human. There are a lot of courses that have human in it. So just be sure, meet with the advisors, ask the
Yes,
questions,
definitely.
get the emails to your whoever your certification person is. Ask the questions and you will go far. Well, I thank everybody. I really, really, really am appreciative of our panel today. I won't tell you what I will tell you, because I need you to know the level of commitment. They had less than 24 hours because we had to shift. In education, we have to shift sometimes. And so they had less than 24 hours to say yes and be willing to make time, not just 60 minutes, but 120 minutes to be with you all. And so from the bottom of my heart, thank you so, so very much. This has been amazing. I know that this recording will bless and be helpful for others who will watch it. And so that is it. And that is all. It is now 6:59 and getting ready to approach 7 p.m. And this is Dr. Ashante Bryant Foster. Thank you. There are other presentations happening all week long. Tomorrow, we will have some presentations on campus, as well as all of our 6 p.m. courses are virtual. So check us out and have a good evening or morning or afternoon.
Thank you. Take care.
Bye-bye, everybody.
Thank you. Have a good evening.
Thank you, presenters.